pleased with the way the season started so far. You guys have been able to notch some W's and get some experience for some of the younger guys.
Well, I think that's been the big thing, and you know, this week is an important week for us when you look at playing 5 games in 8 days, really. You know, I think we'll know a lot more about ourselves, kind of the grit that you have to kind of approach a week like this, and also, you know, how we respond. I thought we responded well, you know, to a disappointing loss on Thanksgiving night, a game that, you know, if you do a couple things a little better in the last 20 minutes, you win the game. But those things are going to happen in a long season, and it's how you respond to it. I thought we had a good response against Ryder, and then a better response against a really good Rhode Island team. You know, guys are starting to figure out how we need to play and what we need to do, and there's some glaring things that we need to improve on, which is good, because I think those are areas that we can work on. We need to get back on the practice court, which won't occur till after this week, unfortunately, but we're going to have to really use that break. Even though we'll play 3 games over the break, we'll have to use that, you know, as an opportunity to improve as a team and get ready for ACC play.
Defensively, you did a good job to start out the game against Rhode Island. That puts you in a good position to win the game.
I agree with you. I thought the first half defensively we were as good as we've been. I think we had 8 turnovers in the first 10 minutes of the game, and that gave them a majority of their points. You know, our defense is good, but if you turn the ball over and give up, you know, transition points because of it, then it's not going to be where it needs to be. So we took care of the ball the last 10 minutes, and our overall team defense on the ball and off the ball was as good as it's been all year long. Now, unfortunately, we weren't as good in the second half. They're a team that can really break it down off the dribble, and we need to do a little better job of shrinking the court against them. As you know, similar situation in the second half in the Marquette game. So we're improving defensively, 41% defensive field goal percentage. Our defensive glass work has been good. Those two go together, though. The more we keep the ball in front of us, the better rebounding team will be on the defensive end. That's what happened in the second half against Marquette. They were able to penetrate our first line of help. And now as the bigs rotate over, bad things happen. You give up layups or offensive rebounds, and that's an area we need to improve in.
I imagine that, you know, one of the things you probably want to deal with in practice in terms is attacking zones and kind of making sure you guys get better shot selection and moving the ball a little bit better against that.
Yeah, and you know, we went over to Marquette film, and about 8 of those shots I'd take any night, you know, and it's a different game if you hit half of those 8. They were wide open threes by our best shooter, you know. So the next step, logical step to answer your question is, okay, if that happens, what do you do next? And that's where we need to improve on. I think our initial attack is good. Now, if we're not shooting the ball well, what can we go to from there? And that's something that we've been working on.
And offensive rebounding in that situation.
Yeah, but the problem is, unless you get inside the zone, you're not going to rebound against it. Even though the zone, they say you can rebound better against it. You rebound better against it if you're able to attack inside the zone. You got to get under, below, and behind the zone in order to attack it. You don't want to play on top of it. And if you play on top of it, then you're not going to get any rebounds. You know, the shot selection, that's always a work in progress. You know, I thought maybe we took some transition threes that we shouldn't have taken. Because in that setting, you're definitely not going to get an offensive rebound because the defense is under you and coming out to guard you. Some of those were good looks, and some of those by Quentin or Todrick or Marcus. I want those guys to be aggressive to take them. And you got to read the situation sometimes in those.
Are you starting to get comfortable with how many minutes you give both point guards and what situations you use them in?
Well, yeah, you know, and again, you know, we limited Travis's minutes in this tournament, looking at the big picture of this whole week. And unfortunately, because of that, I thought there was some times in all 3 games where maybe playing them both together would have helped us. but I didn't want it to extend Travis's minutes at this early junction of the season. So, but I do like the production that both are giving us. They both give us a little difference here and there, but I do think that I think both can play better, which is a good feeling as a coach. I think they both can do even more and make even more plays for us.
Is it going to be interesting getting your first real road game of the year in terms of hostile environment and actually getting into something that's not a tournament?
And I think that's again the beauty of this time of the year. You're going to get one of those in, and I'm not sure what kind of success we've had. I know we haven't in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Our one road game was at Illinois. We played pretty well in that game, but we lost. So no one in this program currently has won on the road in this challenge, and I'm not sure if Georgia Tech has ever won on the road. It's something that you got to take a little more pride in, because you're not only playing for us, you're playing for the league, and it'll be a great environment there at Northwestern. I spent 2 great years there, so I know their fans and their student body and different things like that. So it'll be great for our guys.
What changes have you seen, with the new coach there from the previous?
Well, I mean, there's a dramatic difference in terms of the offensive system and some of the key philosophy points. They ran the Princeton style offense, but they were a tremendous scoring team. I mean, they could really score the ball. That was not the old Pete Carrill Princeton.
Right.
It was Princeton on the juice. It was fast, man. They ran it fast, and they were hard to guard. And but Chris is going to do a great job there. His first recruiting class was good. He's got 1 or 2 good freshmen. He's going to keep building on that. The change in the culture. Not that one culture is better than another. Just the change in the culture takes time, and you're starting to see the building blocks of that at Northwestern.
What's his style? I don't know anything about him. I don't know what Northwestern's doing. I haven't seen a second video.
Well, I think you have to do. I think his style is going to be similar to Duke, where there's a lot of spread offense, a lot of dribble drive, a lot of 3-point shooting, skilled players, hard man to man. Now, I'm not sure he can play that way all the time right now. So I think he's putting bits and pieces in, and as more players come in, more of his players come in, then he'll add to those pieces. He has, great experience over the last 10 years with USA Basketball. So he's got an NBA flair to what they do as well. One of his assistants was his high school coach, who then coached in the NBA with his father. So there's an NBA piece to it as well, but I think you've seen that in Duke also over the last 5 or 6 years because of the influence of the USA Basketball.
Are they similar then? I mean, you saw Marquette obviously same situation.
There's some similarities. I think Steve has an advantage where maybe the players that were left over fit more the pressure, defense, aggressive offensive style than maybe what was left over at Northwestern, to be honest with you. Even though Trey Demps you can see some of the stuff that he was taught under Bill Carmody here, because they used to drive the ball a lot, and he's tremendous off the dribble. And then, the Cobb kid that's from right here, he's an exceptional player. His numbers aren't as good as they have been, but he's going to have a great senior year for him.